I've seen the Lego Batman movie 5 times. I saw it 3 times in theaters when I was a lot younger, and 2 times since. The movie never gets old. I was fully ready for my rewatch of this to be disappointing, but I loved it just as much as I did the first 4 times. So not only do I hope to inspire a couple people to check this movie out, I also want to sort of explain some of my thoughts on the current state of Batman as a character. So enjoy. What separates a passable, inoffensive, forgettable family movie from these masterpieces? Well, one spends half the time making loud, stupid toilet humor, and the other half making subtle sex jokes and pop culture references to keep the parents from deep-throating a gun barrel, and the other respects its demographics equally. The reason I loved this movie so much as a kid was because me and my parents were laughing at the same things. The jokes in here are silly enough for kids to enjoy, but not so juvenile as to alienate the adults. It removed that barrier of enjoyment, and that's why we all loved this movie so much. That's why films like Fantastic Mr. Fox and the Lego Movie will stand the test of time, while cash grab movies like Despicable Me 3 are destined to fizzle out the following year, only managing to make a dent in the health of the underpaid animators sleeping under their desks. Despicable Me 3 made $1 billion. Who has the coolest gadgets? So easily the best part of this movie would be the comedy, which does feel a little bit too hyperactive at times, but I feel like it usually manages to strike that perfect balance between being fast-paced and clever. But here's what the people really want to know. Is it funnier than the first Lego movie? Guess not. You can kind of feel that Lord and Miller didn't direct this one, but Chris McKay, who did direct it, is super experienced in this field and I think adds a lot to it. He directed some of the best episodes of Moral Orel. To me, I would say it's at least on par with the first Lego movie. It's an already pretty funny script that I think is elevated with some great comedic timing and an excellent voice cast. Will Arnett is one of the best comedic actors ever because he can take the simplest lines of dialogue and make them so much funnier with his performance and delivery. Oh, wait. Jesus Christ. Fuck! There is no God. The animation's pretty cool too. The set design towards the end is great, but the thing that stood out to me on this rewatch was the motion blurs. For those of you who aren't in the know, animation does this thing where, like, to move from one frame to another, for like an 1/18 of a second, they'll do a really exaggerated, extreme, like, motion from one pose to another, usually that it super extends one body part, so it looks really silly when paused, but in motion it looks incredibly fluid. But this movie does motion blurs in a really cool way where it actually constructs the blurs out of bricks. So they model another Lego brick and then they physically place it on or over the characters to create that motion blur effect. Sorry if you didn't understand any of that, but all that is to say that I really appreciate the attention to detail that went into every frame of this movie. Oh, I forgot to say, this movie's also super gay, but in a good way.
I'm just gonna come.
Hashtag bat jokes for life.
I like to around.
I'm not bothered by the hyperactive pace of the comedy, but I can see why some other people would be. My only 2 gripes with this movie is that some of the effects in the animation, they look more realistic, and they, for some reason, didn't render them in the Lego style that everything else is. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it kind of stands out. And also Batman, raps in this movie, and it's, ear-bleedingly bad. In the darkest night, I make the bad guys fall. But overall, this is a really good movie, and it's proof that you can make a self-aware superhero comedy movie actually funny. Wait, who said that? Shit. Few things in this world piss me off more than lazy meta commentary. Some movies and shows know how to properly use it to add immersion to a story by briefly breaking it, but a lot completely fail at this. There's nothing inherently clever about acknowledging your audience, and the Lego Batman movie knows this. It's self-aware in a way that doesn't take you out of the experience. The meta commentary adds to the already solid comedy of the movie instead of creating it entirely.
I've seen you go through similar phases in 2016 and and 2012 and 2008 and 2005 and 1997 and 1995 and 1992 and 1989 and that weird one in 1966.
Clock King, Calendar Man, Kite Man, Cat Man, Zebra Man, and the Condiment King!
Okay, are you making some of those up?
Nope, they're all real. Probably worth the Google.
I can imagine the Rick and Morty version of this scene. Wait, did you make all those up? Nope, they're all canon. A bunch of nerds have already complained about their designs on Reddit. Imagine caring about these old comics. Like, seriously, whoever owns the right to these should be ashamed. Oh, by the way, you're watching a movie right now. Oh, by the way, don't tell anyone, but, I'm only 15, and, this says 18 on it, so it's pretty edgy of me, right? To do, because, you know, this is a Lego set for adults because of all the nudity in it. Anyway, there's a reason why I've seen The Dark Knight once and the Lego Batman movie 5 times. It has so much love for its main character and his iconography, which, I'm just gonna say it, a lot of these recent Batman movies don't. Hear me out on this one. The selling point of Batman 1989, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, Joker, and this new Batman movie have all been, it's a Batman movie, but it doesn't feel like one because it's dark and gritty and edgier than any of the ones that came before it. Which is fine, I like some of these movies, but they all seem embarrassed to be a Batman movie. No, this isn't a fun superhero movie, this is fucking Scarface. If I want to watch a movie about a guy who dresses up as a bat to stop crime, I don't want to see Scarface. I want to see something corny and silly that doesn't take itself too seriously. How much better do you think Taxi Driver would have been if Batman was in it? Like, come on. Don't make the hero on kids' t-shirts reenact this scene from Casino. Like, it's not a question of if we need it, period. It's a question of if we need it now again. But if your goal really is to challenge the superhero genre, then do it like Watchmen did it, not like The Killing Joke, which I don't have a copy of. If you want to make the exact same crime movie that subverts the superhero genre, do it with a similar Batman-like character, because to quote Alan Moore, the writer behind both of these books, I have no interest in superheroes. They were a thing that was invented in the late 1930s for children, and they are perfectly good as children's entertainment. But if you try to make them for the adult world, then I think it becomes kind of grotesque. I've been told that the Joker film wouldn't exist without my Joker story, but 3 months after I'd written it, I was disowning it. It was far too violent. It was Batman, for Christ's sake. It's a guy dressed as a bat. Increasingly, I think the best version of Batman was Adam West, which didn't take it at all seriously.
I'm vengeance.
Oh yeah, this movie looks great. There you go, folks. That's why I think we should be supporting things like the Lego Batman movie, which is fresh and clever and does what it wants despite everything going against it, which is literally the definition of edgy. Look it up. I'm pretty certain it doesn't say whatever has the most blood and bits in it. So which one do you think pushes more boundaries? The fourth dark and gritty reimagining of a character that was designed to sell bubblegum to kids, or a unique, sharply written and self-aware comedy that isn't afraid to be honest and blunt about its own industry and embraces its own unique style of comedy? Just because something is accessible doesn't mean it isn't edgy. I don't know, man. Take it from me, a dumbass 15-year-old who likes explosions and gore and boobs, that this feels a lot more juvenile than this. I don't know. To me, it's like that Lego set over there. Is it worth stripping away everything that makes it fun in the first place and kicking out the kids who should be inspired and enjoying it just to tell me that I'm an adult? Because showing Batman getting f***ed in the by the Joker and calling a crying, bleeding homeless man a motherfucker is just as shallow and edgy as the 18+ logo on this Lego Batman set. To me, they're the same.